And we are live. Welcome to the NBA Live Before Lock. It is Sunday, February 7th. I had no idea what the date was there. I am Josh Engleman. I am joined by Eric Lindquist, and we are here to break down a 5-game NBA slate on Super Bowl Sunday. Just what everybody wanted, NBA content. But we are here, and it looks like the channel is packed. We've got 400 plus people in here, tons of likes coming in. It's a good time. Eric, how's it going?
Doing well. It's nice. This is my first early show out here on the West Coast. So getting up early, getting some work in. I was going to work out and that didn't happen. So oops. We'll maybe postpone that to tomorrow. That's cool. But fun Super Bowl Sunday day, and let's kick it off with some hoops.
I know. It's going to be a good one. We've got 5 games. So far, it seems like it's pretty normal. So we're going to go through each individual game since there's not a strategy show for this one. And we should have plenty of time to go through 5 games. Lots to talk about, but I think we just dive in right away out of the gate. Unless you have anything else that you want to touch on before we get started.
Not precisely. Yeah, let's party.
Let's do it. All right, first game up on the list. Let's work our way through it. Washington at Charlotte. Washington, slight favorites, oddly enough, in Charlotte. I wasn't really expecting that when I saw the line, but they are like 1.5 favorites. We'll start on the Washington side. We got Bradley Beal. We've got Russell Westbrook. They're both up top for Washington. How are you feeling about the 2 studs from the Wizards?
Well, this is actually just like kind of one of the most important games on the slate right off the bat. Russell Westbrook is coming off of an absolute dud, something where 15.1, they got ran out of the building by the Heat. And so we're looking at a bounce back spot. I think considering like looking at his ownership right now, where it's at, I'm definitely looking at finding any way that I can to get on top of it. Had he gone out, I always think of I'm always looking for somebody on the bounce back. If he had played well in that last game, you'd be looking at him in the 35-40% ownership range. We're seeing him 25%. And I know there's options on the other side of this, both at point guard that we're going to be very interested in as well. So I think there's some leverage to be had by going to Russell Westbrook, just in terms of like raw points on FanDuel, in terms of getting like a different roster construction on DraftKings.
I actually have some interest in some of the non-Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal guys on FanDuel. So Rui for 5,200, I think looks pretty good. He's got about 10% ownership on FanDuel. That seems fine. I don't have any problem spending 3,700 on Denny in this particular case. And now we need to talk about it at least a little bit. Alex Len starting at center for the Wizards today. No longer Robin Lopez in the starting lineup. Does that open up Len to you? 5,500 on FanDuel and 4K on DraftKings. So clearly on DraftKings, he's in play.
Yeah, DraftKings, he's definitely in play. He's actually right now my second highest owned player as I'm going through. I'm building about 40 over on DraftKings, and I've got well over the field on what I think that, we're going to see that ownership number come way up, but 4K is just tough to get away from. He has outplayed Robin Lopez. I know it was in garbage time last time out. I know that it was just kind of a fluky spot there. I'm not expecting like 18-5-2 and whatever else it was. I'm expecting him to get a majority of those minutes at center, which is on this slate in this spot, like pretty exciting.
4K is just a price tag that you can't avoid there. 5,500 on FanDuel. Let's see where I have him in my actual center rankings. First, second, third, fourth. Not high.
Yeah, 5,500 for you on FanDuel is not going to grade out, especially when you have Zeller 300 more. Now getting a matchup against Len, which is, I think, a little bit of a better spot for him as well.
Yeah.
He's going to just jump way up a little bit for me here, too, when I run through this next crunch. But 5,500 is a tough one on FanDuel to stomach. And I know that there's upside there. Don't look at the last game and let that dictate what you're doing today. Get up to Zeller instead on FanDuel.
Now, on the Charlotte side, LaMelo Ball in the starting lineup. No Devontae Graham today. He is out. So Ball, Hayward, Rozier, PJ Washington back in the lineup. Cody Zeller. These guys are all 20% or more in ownership on FanDuel. Rozier and Ball in the 30s on DraftKings. PJ Washington and Hayward as well, picking up some love. Caleb Martin getting some ownership on DraftKings too. How are you managing Charlotte in what looks like probably the best spot of the day?
By far, yeah. So this is what I spent a majority of my morning doing, going through this. So Devontae Graham off the floor with LaMelo Ball, you're actually seeing that number dip from 1.2 to 1.15 fantasy point per minute. But who cares? Because you're also going to get about 7 or 8 more minutes. So don't let the rates or anything like that dictate what you're doing. Not that everybody's like looking into them like we are, but you got to be able to identify like what in this spot. He played 38 minutes last time out. Obviously, usage was sky high. Started taking shots, 14 for 27. He had a majority of he just had it going last time out. Now, again, we're looking at like a medium projection, and like for him in this spot against the Wizards, against Russell Westbrook, like let's party. Like I have really no problem getting over top of the field. He was grading out. We actually had leverage on him. He was on the boom bust tool, so I was pretty excited to see that this morning too. Then Terry Rozier is the other guy to really talk about. Got a great price tag over on DraftKings, pretty darn good. I didn't see his tag over on FanDuel, but I've got to expect it to be in below 6K, right?
Terry Rozier on FanDuel is 6,100.
That's beautiful. Yeah. So you're looking to party there too. He's just under a fantasy point per minute this year. Somebody that I'm really excited to be rostering today too in this spot. Westbrook, Beal, just as much as they can provide on the offensive end, they don't really provide anything on the defensive end. There's no resistance for these Charlotte Hornets getting up and down the court. And now that PJ Washington is in that starting lineup, I have a lot of interest in him over on DraftKings as well. I think he's kind of grading out for me as kind of like one of the best leverage spots on the entire slate right now. The Q tag always kind of reduces ownership to a certain extent. I'm definitely looking at getting over the field there as well. I mean, it's just looking like a 2 Charlotte Hornets in every lineup kind of day for me.
I am in no position to really disagree. I think these guys look great. PJ Washington for 6,200 on FanDuel is a guy that I'm getting a lot of well over the field. LaMelo, Gordon Hayward, these guys are showing up as positive values for me. I'll still be getting to Terry Rozier. I'll still be getting to whoever I missed, Cody Zeller. All 5 of those guys are standing out to me. LaMelo Ball, Gordon Hayward, and PJ Washington are 3 of my 6 highest guys in the crunch that I just finished off. So I'm going to be getting quite a bit of the Charlotte Hornets today. Anything else in this game? I know this is probably the most important one, so we needed to touch on it a little bit more in depth.
Yeah, so Denny is somebody on DraftKings at 4K. He doesn't grade out necessarily well for me. I guess you have Alex Len now, so I think some of that ownership I was getting earlier in the morning is going to kind of flood towards Len. But then you're also using up 2 center spots, and Gobert is such a great tag over on DraftKings that in a couple of lineups I am looking at sprinkling in some Denny. It's just an appealing price tag and a good game environment, so I don't have any issues getting to a little bit of him kind of sprinkled throughout. But otherwise, for me, it's really on that Charlotte side. I mean, Ball, Rozier, Washington, those 3 specifically. And then Zeller has a great tag over on FanDuel. I saw 5,800. Like, let's roll with that too.
All righty, let's keep it moving now. We will move on to Utah at Indy. Utah going to be without Mike Conley for today, so that actually makes the Jazz more interesting than they normally are. Donovan Mitchell at 30% ownership, Ingles at 30% ownership on FanDuel, Jordan Clarkson 50% owned on FanDuel. That's a wild amount of ownership. He's quite owned on DK too. How are you doing? What are you getting to from the Utah Jazz now that Mike Conley is out?
So Jordan Clarkson is a good play at 5K on FanDuel. It's hard to really say anything negative about that. That usage is going to take a bump up. 31.2, 29.6 his last 2 games, even with Conley there. Like, I can't see that being something that I'm really going to take a knock on. I generally try to avoid somebody like Clarkson when they're popular because of the shooting dependency, because of some of the other factors. But like when you just completely take Conley off the floor in general, it's going to be hard not to still get to quite a bit of Clarkson today.
Yeah, I like him clearly. I assume he grades out as my second best shooting guard play behind Donovan Mitchell, but I'm not sure that I want to get to 50% ownership on him. That feels a little bit aggressive. He's still going to be, probably in the 30s or 40s for me, but I don't know if I'm going to get all the way to the entire field like it is right now. What about the rest of these guys? Is it a Rudy Gobert day, Joe Ingles day, a Boyan day? Not a ton for me to like here, oddly enough. It really is just Mitchell, Gobert, Ingles, and Clarkson to me.
Yeah, Gobert 7,300 on DraftKings is probably my favorite play from the entire game. Going to him, you kind of know exactly what you're getting. He's splitting those minutes down with favors. You know that you're going to get the bulk end of them with him. If you get 32 minutes of Rudy Gobert or 30 minutes of Rudy Gobert in this spot, like it's really hard to say anything negative about him in general. Given Miles Turner's been good defensively, but he's more of just like whatever. Like I really have no issue in going to Rudy Gobert in any situation where he's going to be under 7,500 in any matchup.
Ooh, okay. Anything else from the Utah side?
Are you not a fan of the Gobert over on FanDuel either?
I'm just indifferent. Like I have him in the optimal lineup at 11%. He's at 12% ownership, so I don't really have much else. I do want to make sure that I can get us through each of these games.
Yeah,
you're the analyst here, man. Everybody's here for you. I'm just
I heard the groan. I was like, oh God, he's not getting the Gobert he wants or something. Just checking in with my ship comrade here. Just letting it go. We got Domantas Sabonis 9,400. Obviously coming off a dud himself. So over on DraftKings is really where you want to get a lot of your exposure there at 8,300. That's just too low. It's too low for Domantas Sabonis. He's kind of like running the show over there. We're seeing that assist rate get up. He's been playing 38 minutes. He's a 1.3 fantasy point per minute guy on the year, 24.9% usage. Like let's just play Domantas Sabonis at 8,300 on DraftKings. Over on FanDuel, there's at least something to think about with 9,400. That's a big number there. I would prefer mostly Malcolm Brogdon on FanDuel. 7K is just too low as well. I think the ownership is going to obviously be there in some spots. 4,100 Doug McDermott is kind of the thing over on FanDuel that's kind of a little sneaky, that's going to probably go a little bit overlooked on this slate with some of these other spots. Obviously, Kawhi is going to be popular in that small forward position. So I don't mind sprinkling in some Dougie McBuckets at 4,100.
Yeah, minutes over the past two games back up for McDermott. He was down in like the 20s range for a couple games, 29 on February 3rd, 33 minutes on February 5th. So I like that little shout. Could look good for McBuckets. I'm with you on Brogdon. I'm with you on Sabonis. Both of these guys are getting ownership, and they should. I actually think they're a little bit over-owned on DraftKings, oddly enough. But still, quality plays. Miles Turner, the guy that I like the most here, 6,900 on FanDuel. He's a guy that is only
on DK too.
I know, both great prices. I actually like Turner more than the field, so he's going to be my most exposed center on FanDuel today.
Let's go.
I like the matchup too. I mean, it's. He's going to be pulling Rudy Gobert out. So maybe you see Gobert more on Sabonis, leaving Royce O'Neal to guard Miles Turner. Is that what we would be thinking here?
Good luck. Yeah. Good luck, Royce.
Yeah. If the shot's falling, it'll be nice. Anything else for Jazz Pacers?
I think we keep it on moving. It's kind of the usual suspects for me. That price tag on FanDuel for Dougie is too good to pass up having a little bit over the field.
So a little bit of a schedule update for us today. Get ready. We've got 3 hours of NFL content coming up after this. So starting at 2 p.m. Eastern time, NFL strategy show, Greg and Kyle breaking down the game for an hour. Then we're transitioning to the NFL Deeper Dive show at 3 p.m. You guys know the drill for that one. It's Lofty, it's Ben, and it's Alex Baker, Awesemo himself. And then finally, live before lock, 4 p.m. Eastern, myself, Chris Spags, Matt Kajeski, breaking the NFL down on Live Before Lock for the final time this season. We're going 3 straight hours of NFL content for the Super Bowl. If you're looking for any DFS content, this is the place to be because we're cranking it out for 3 straight hours. So tune into that one. Again, starting it off 2 p.m. So an hour after we are done, an hour after NBA lock, the NFL shows will kick off. Now let's move it on to the Miami Heat at the New York Knicks. Knicks are 6-point dogs, 208 total. Let's see, from an injury perspective on Miami, since everything is weird for them, basically every single game, Jimmy Butler is in, Goran Dragic is out, Avery Bradley obviously still out, Gabe Vincent available and in, not all that relevant as far as I'm concerned. Bam, Butler, Hero, they are the only 3 guys that I have any interest in from Miami. This is a very slow matchup against New York. The Knicks right now, the slowest team in the league. I've got them at 95 possessions per game. That's more than a full possession off the next closest team. How are you managing Miami? Because other than the 3 guys I mentioned, this is not a pretty spot.
Yeah, I'm managing them by removing team from player pool on DraftKings. That seems to be kind of the focal point for me over there. You're seeing these tags, 8,400 Jimmy Butler. Like, you could take some shots there, but there's just better game environments, better situations on this slate for me. Plus, spending 8,400 at a small forward spot when you have Kawhi coming up, that's going to be a no for me. Kelly Olynyk 5,200, like, no thanks. Bam 9K. It's just getting to be too ridiculous now with Jimmy Butler back. I want to see that price tag start to come down over on DraftKings a little bit for him there. I know that we've seen the assist rate come up over the course of this year. He is a guy who can kind of get on top of an upside in a variety of ways. He's involved in everything that the Heat do. He can spike a stocks upside, but 9K, it's just too big of a price to pay on this slate for me. Over on FanDuel, like, Tyler Hero is the guy who's going to grade out the best for me. He's sitting at 5,800, somebody that can spike a shooting upside, but he's only a 0.9 fantasy point per minute guy, 5,800. He would be kind of a way to maybe get contrarian off of some Clarkson at 5K. Just kind of hope for him to go off and Clarkson to brick it up. But against this Knicks team, it's just so hard to get to anybody for me.
Yeah, it's a really odd game for, like, fantasy interest. I think Bam is slightly underowned, and that's about it. I think Randall is slightly overowned on the New York side, and then that's about it. This is mostly just filler. If I just look at the overall rankings, I mean, we're talking about two of the three least interesting teams for me today. I wish I had something to say about Miami and New York, but I mean, are you finding anything on the Knicks side that tickles your fancy?
Yeah, so this is where I have the interest in this game. I think there are two pretty darn good plays, and I think they both are going to kind of stick out a little bit for the field for where they are. Mitchell Robinson, 5,200 over on FanDuel. On DraftKings, that price is 5,100. We saw Nerlens Noel got ruled out. And so for me, that might add a little bit, like, I'm just kind of boosting his minutes just slightly. I mean, I know Taj Gibson's there, and obviously Tibbs is going to have no problem throwing him out there. But Mitchell Robinson is playing pretty well of late. And I think just having Nerlens out gives me a little bit more security to make sure that those minutes can get up to 33, 34. So for me, that's kind of the one guy that sticks out the most. And then I think because he's been in good form lately, and because it seems like they just have apprehension to give quickly the run, Elf Payton has gone off the last two. We've seen 37.5 and 38.25 over on DraftKings. He's just 4,500 over there. So I think for a couple of builds where, I'm trying to get Westbrook, Ball, and, Rozier, you can play in the shooting guard spot. So that's not an issue. I am getting quite a bit of mixture of Elf Payton just from this spot. And that's purely a 4,500 price spot. I prefer him so much more over Alex Len for 4K and so much more over Denny for 4K. So that just kind of is a price play for me that I'm preferring.
That works for me. I am getting to basically nothing from this game.
Well, there's that.
It's really, really rough. Like,
yeah, it's a gross game for sure.
I basically only have Bam and Hero from the Miami side, and the most I have of someone from the Knicks is 9% Julius Randle. So,
any Alec Burks at 4,200 interest for you on FanDuel?
Minimal. I have 2% right now. I think he's overowned. So
okay,
the $4,200 price tag looks good. Is he on the floor enough? I don't know.
31 minutes last time out. It's just tough because you can see Bullock filling in here and there for stuff, and then obviously quickly can be on the floor. I mean, they just have not done that so much with Peyton, but 31 minutes last time out, 4,200. It's a great price tag.
Are you seeing 31 minutes on Alec Burks for his last game?
Let me see.
I have 27.5.
I'm seeing 31, 27.2. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. 31.1
really
fantasy
about
points.
Data.
There
okay.
we go. Yeah, no. I was point chasing here. I clicked on the wrong box. My bad.
Had me nervous for my own data.
That's important.
It is. Anything else for Knicks Heat?
That's about it. Let's keep rolling to something better.
Let's do it. Boston Celtics, Phoenix Suns. Suns 3-point favorites at home, 215 total. Not the best spot from a DFS perspective, but there are some things to like. Kemba Walker is still 5,700 on FanDuel. He's ultra chalk, as he should be. Probably, the best play of the day just because of that salary. 6,800 on DraftKings is still a solid price tag for Kemba Walker. I don't mind getting to Kemba. I like Jason Tatum a little bit. Tristan Thompson, Daniel Tice seem like viable options on the FanDuel side. I think Boston looks terrible on DK outside of Kemba and Jason Tatum. How are you managing the Celtics today with no Jaylen Brown and obviously still no Marcus Smart?
So Daniel Tice, I guess on DraftKings for me, 4,400. That's grading out pretty well. Obviously, Kemba Walker is a great play. There's really nothing that I can say that's going to get me to get away from Kemba Walker on the slate. I thought I was playing more on FanDuel as well. 5,700 on FanDuel. Like, come on, like that's ridiculous at this point in time. It's just hard to get away from. So I'm looking around, but Daniel Tice is somebody that I've had a lot of interest in the last couple games. He's getting into that starting lineup. They're starting Tristan alongside him here. That's obviously going to make Kaminsky interesting on the other side as well, with kind of this tandem bigs lineup that we're going to see out of the Suns and Celtics. Like, I'm just assuming that that's going to be what it is. But Daniel Tice, 4,400, hard to get off of there. Jason Tatum, obviously 1.28 fantasy point per minute guy. Put up back-to-back 50 spots, looks great. 9,400 just feels like a little bit of a stretch for me in terms of like how much better Kawhi is grading out for me in terms of like, I'm just going to find it difficult to get to as much exposure of Tatum as what I would want on this slate.
Yeah, Tatum is relatively limited for me as of right now. Doesn't make me feel good. FanDuel price though is just massive right now. 10-2 on FanDuel. Yeah, 9,400 on DraftKings is probably a little bit easier to get there. Then on the Phoenix side, ownership is kind of wild. Like, we've got Frank Kaminsky at 23% owned on DraftKings, a little bit less so on FanDuel, only at 8%. But Chris Paul getting about 20% ownership. DeAndre Ayton picking up a little bit of love on DK at 6,800. He's 8,300 on FanDuel, so that's a little bit of a disparity. Devin Booker, 7,400 on both sites in the teens in ownership. Does Phoenix look better to you than Boston?
No, which is strange because I think in general, like Frank Kaminsky, we're looking at his leverage score on the boom bust tool, like a 10% boom score, -7 leverage. 3,700 is a price play. And for me, I'm trying to get up and get different. I think Elf Payton's kind of my differentiation for value on this slate. And so that's just kind of where I'm putting my flag into. 3,700 Frank Kaminsky's fine, but I think people are going to be distorted from the one game where he went bonkers and think that that's kind of more of what we're going to expect out of Frank in this spot. He is a 1.18 fantasy point per minute guy on this season, 21% usage, but still he hasn't been playing those minutes alongside starters. So I think that sometimes that can get a little skewed. Obviously somebody that can spike a shooting upside here and there. He's going to grade out well, but I'm going to be light simply because I think there's enough path for him to fail.
Okay. I have very minimal amounts of this one as well. On the Phoenix side, I have Bridges at 12%. That's the highest guy I have here. And really the only exposure that I'm getting to on the Boston side in any sort of aggressive manner is Kemba Walker, which is impossible to avoid on the FanDuel side. On DraftKings, I would have a little bit if I were playing him.
I got to give my one shout out. This is something that I just kind of always sprinkle in on almost every slate. I try to find some of these centers that could spike a 21, 22 minute upside if they got the run or if it blows out or something else. Time Lord, Robert Williams, 3,600 over on DraftKings where you can play two centers. I try to in large field tournaments, you are looking for that one piece that can kind of get different for you. He's somebody that if you were to get to 21, 22 minutes, Robert Williams just kind of does work when he's on a floor. So I would have no issue getting up to him. 1.17 fantasy point per minute, or 1.21 on the entire year. So sign me up for that if you were to get 20 minutes in this spot.
Where do I have him set? Yeah, I mean, the price tag on FanDuel is a little difficult to get to. That makes him like largely impossible to get, but 3,600 on DraftKings. Yeah, if that breaks the right way and he could be out there, I mean, he's a very, very productive fantasy player in limited minutes. If he gets additional minutes, that's where things can really open up. Any final thoughts on Boston and Phoenix?
That's all I got for you.
All righty. Well, I haven't asked in a while. We've got 2,000 people in here today, so that's kind of exciting at a pretty early showtime. 250 likes as well, so hit that thumbs up, everybody. Subscribe to the channel. We're still trying to get more subscribers. We didn't stop at 50K. We want all that we can get, but now I can ask for the likes again and truly mean it. We have a giveaway going on today, which is kind of exciting for the Super Bowl. You should check out the pinned tweet at Awesemo_com. That is our Twitter handle. You can win a free year of Awesemo Plus Platinum, $1,000 value. Just look at the tweet, follow the instructions. You're projecting whether Tom Brady or Pat Mahomes will have more passing yards today. If you get that question right, of all the people that get it right, one random winner will get a $1,000 value Awesemo Plus yearly platinum package. You get access to everything we've got. Doesn't include Fantasy Cruncher. I want to make sure that I get that out of the way now, so you can add that on if you want to. But every single sport, every single thing that comes out at Awesemo.com, you would get it if you win this giveaway. So head to our Twitter account at Awesemo_com. Check it out now. One final game to go. The late afternoon hammer, Sacramento Kings at the Los Angeles Clippers. Clippers 8.5-point favorites, 228 total. Business as usual for Sacramento. On the Clippers side, we're still without Patrick Beverley. Paul George also out, certainly making Kawhi Leonard look pretty good. But we'll start on the Sacramento side, where no one on FanDuel is over double digits in ownership except for Tyrese Halliburton. No one on DraftKings at all is in double digits in ownership. I like Sacramento a lot in comparison to the public ownership. Not that like these guys are locks for me, but it's a bunch of guys that are about 8-9% owned that I think should be like 15% owned. And I kind of like getting to more of these guys in like the 20% range. So how do you feel about Sacramento?
I feel like Tyrese Halliburton day. Let's go. Like one time for him. Iowa State, he's just like, he's fantastic. Everybody that passed up on this guy in the draft, it's going to be a long road ahead for them, because this guy is fantastic at basketball. Right now we're sitting with a little 0.5 leverage score over on FanDuel for him, 6K. He's grading out really well for me. It's going to be hard for me to get away from being over the field on him there. I guess he's the highest owned of the grouping as I'm looking at it. And then De'Aaron Fox can spike crazy upside anywhere. Obviously, no Paul George on the floor. You got to expect that that's going to hurt some of their defensive numbers. I obviously am not worried too much about like DVP or factoring anything like that, but you do take a good individual defender like Paul George off of the floor, and you got to think that that only helps the game environment. So De'Aaron Fox, definitely some interest in getting over the field there as well. Buddy Hield, somebody that I thought I was going to get to more of. Shout out Rinpack, that's his boy. So 6,500, just a little bit harder for me to get to with 6K Halliburton sitting in the wings and getting those minutes and looking as good as he is on the floor. Somebody who can also get there in a number of ways as opposed to Buddy Hield, who is so shooting dependent.
Yeah, I thought I was going to get to a little bit more Buddy Hield, but I have too many other guys above him that I'm grabbing a little bit more ownership to. So I actually did just give him a little bit of a bump up to try to get him in a little bit more lineups. But for right now, it's just not looking like that's the case. Like I've got way too much Tyler Hero right now. That's not really a direction that I was trying to go, but I'm fine with it a little bit. I do have a bunch of Halliburton. Donovan Mitchell is just the guy that I cannot get out of my lineups on FanDuel. It's really massive for right now. But just to go over my exposures for the Kings, Halliburton, Fox, Holmes, all in the 20 to 30% range. A little bit of Hield, and actually still a little bit of Whiteside. Just in case something goes wrong with Holmes, Whiteside should be there to at least soak up a couple additional minutes. Do you have anything else you want to touch on from the Kings?
Rashawn Holmes just deserves a shout out. I mean, he's right at the 1 fantasy point per minute number. I'm not too concerned about this as a matchup, something that he could get on top of. I do like that tag over on FanDuel, 6,200, but I really, really like it, 5,600 over on DraftKings.
Absolutely. Then we get to the Clippers, where Kawhi is the leader in the clubhouse here, man. 9,900 on FanDuel, 9,100 on DraftKings. I think he looks like a great play. I'm basically with the field right now, and I'm happy to be there. I'm actually getting a lot of Nick Batum on FanDuel at 5,200. I think it's just the product of the position for today. After that, Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris, Serge Ibaka. I think all three guys are in play. Luke Kennard as well for 3,800 on DK. How are you looking at the Clippers with Paul George out?
Kawhi Leonard is fantastic. He's my highest exposed player on the entire slate. 1.36 fantasy point per minute. That rate doesn't necessarily go up that much with Paul George off the floor. It's very limited, but again, it's Kawhi Leonard who's going to be taking over the bulk of the offense. We can also not his assist rate's going to go up slightly. He's going to have every opportunity to just smash in this spot. It's the best possible matchup that you could have. I'm just getting to a ton, and then you should probably do such a thing too. Obviously, there's merit to fading anybody on any given slate. This is not the time when I'm deciding to be hitting the fade on Kawhi Leonard. No thanks. Not against Sacramento here. Nicholas Batum 5,200 over on FanDuel makes a lot of sense. I have less interest at 5,100 over on DraftKings. I know it seems like a better tag, but it's really not in terms of the way that he's going to grade out for me. It's small forward is going to kind of get eaten up by Kawhi, and I'm going to kind of removing small forward from the rest of my flex spots and from the utility position just because of how bad the position looks, and mixing in more of the better power forward plays on DraftKings.
Small forward is really gross today. I hate it.
Really bad.
Really, really not appealing stuff. I have a lot more Clippers than I was expecting at the very least.
So who else are you getting is the question, because there's
one.
like
It's just a lot more Kawhi and Batum than I was expecting.
Okay, there we go. A
little bit of Marcus Morris, a very tiny amount of Serge Ibaka, which that is actually making me a little bit nervous, but he is picking up 24% ownership. I'm just basically fading Serge Ibaka's ownership. It seems a little bit too high for me.
Agreed. I think Marcus Morris 4,200 on DraftKings does make some sense, but not for me over on FanDuel.
I never know what I'm getting out of Marcus Morris. I feel like that guy I can't get him right. He's one of those guys that I never have a finger on the pulse of.
My biggest problem with playing him is even when you do get him right, you're generally only getting 26. So It's like you're not getting him right with some kind of crazy upside. You're getting him right and he didn't kill you. So I think even on a 5-game slate, there are enough other options that I try to get away from it on FanDuel, where you're trying to basically target the best combo and raw points. And he's not going to get to much for me at 4,500, but 4,200 on DraftKings, it fits the roster construction a little bit better.
We got through 5 games in 30 minutes. I think that's pretty good. That's it's an abridged strategy show. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. We just got an ownership update, by the way, a minute ago. So I just put that little refresh in. I'm going to take a further look at what I've got, but I think we're in the position to take a bunch of questions if we want.
Yeah.
What news just broke? What do we got going on here?
Wizards
Kendrick Nunn is starting.
Oh, God. Okay, that matters a lot.
I don't think he'll close, but he could.
I mean, you see no hero there, right?
Right.
That's the problem for you.
A little bit.
5,800 not starting.
I don't know how much it matters.
Let's see what's none over on DraftKings. I literally just this morning told my buddy to drop him in his year long, so that's great. Good job.
None is 5K at the point guard spot. I think he's okay on FanDuel at that price tag. I just broke my sheet too with that
5,800 on DraftKings. So that's really nothing. That's nothingness for me, actually.
How did I break my sheet right now? Something is broken, and I have no. It's got to be an ownership
one of those
thing.
Days.
Yeah, someone is who is in one of these lineups that isn't in a lineup now. Somehow ownership broke. Oh, there it is. Who's this? What is this guy's name? Who broke me? Oh, Nerlens Noel. Okay, he was showing up in a lineup that I had crunched already. Didn't really realize it at first, so I need to get him the hell out of everything that I'm doing. Let's do that now. Let's get some questions in, if you're ready.
I'm ready.
Let's do it. So, Clarkson, Kemba, or none in a DK GPP?
Kemba.
Yeah, I think so. What's Clarkson's price? Do you like Clarkson more than Kemba on DK?
I mean, they're both fantastic. You have 5,700 for Clarkson, and then Kemba's 6,800. But I mean, obviously 5,700 Clarkson's going to grade out a little bit better. I'm all aboard Kemba. If Kemba doesn't play well today for me, it's just not going to be a good day, and that's fine.
Yeah, I need him to play quite well, at least on FanDuel, but clearly so does basically everybody else.
Yeah.
let's delete these old Nerlens Noel lineups and then could refresh once again. YouTube chat, premium Slack, get your questions in now. We have a ton of time to take some questions. So let's see what else we have. Beal and Clarkson or Russ and Halliburton on DraftKings?
Russ and Halliburton for sure.
Yeah, agreed. DK Cash, Clarkson or Ingles?
Clarkson, like not even in the same stratosphere.
Is Luke Kennard a good play for FanDuel? I would say no.
3,800 DraftKings, I know that.
Yeah, 4,800 on FanDuel.
I think there's more exciting options.
I would agree. Favorite FanDuel plays at shooting guard?
Let's take a look here. Obviously Clarkson. Burks is somebody that was popping for me, but I'm going to probably come down off of a little bit of what I was getting earlier. Donovan Mitchell's the best play on the entire slate at shooting guard, 7,800. Yep. Like don't even think twice about that. I have quite a bit of Tyrese Halliburton. And then if you want like somebody that's going to be a little bit contrarian, I think Devin Booker 7,400 still has upside. I'm willing to take some shots, just reduced ownership, hoping one day that he'll just kind of decide to take over a game.
Has to happen eventually, right? They don't seem to have like, I don't know. It's like a weird chemistry right now.
Chris Paul runs the show everywhere he goes. And you can't really say anything negative about it because the Thunder were projected to be the worst team in the West last year. All they did was win. This year they're winning in a tough West. They're playing pretty darn well. Like it's hard to say anything about it, but it sure does kill the fantasy upside of anybody else.
D-Book, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Oh, now we got the questions coming in. Thoughts on Grant Williams on FanDuel?
FanDuel, no. DraftKings, absolutely, yes.
I don't
get to quite a bit there.
He's 3,800 on FanDuel, but I don't think it matters.
No.
You know, that sort of value is just really not that necessary right now. FanDuel GPP, Mitchell Robinson, Alex Len, or Cody Zeller?
Mitchell Robinson for me.
I think Cody Zeller is the best play there, but he's also the chalk center, so I wouldn't mind going a different direction. Let's see what else we have coming in. Tice or Denny on DraftKings?
Tice for me. I mean, 4K Denny is not as nearly as imperative to have. I'm just eating Kawhi Leonard at the small forward spot. I can find better value other positions.
Alrighty. What small forward do you think is the best possible slate breaker on a DraftKings GPP?
Kawhi Leonard. I would hope.
Yeah. Just looking at the position, I think I agree with you. I hope he does it. I have enough of him at this point. Is Reggie Jackson a good GPP contrarian FanDuel play?
I was thinking about that because he is the guy who sees the biggest usage bump from Paul George being off the floor. I saw that the other day. It was like 4% or something that he saw a little bit of a bump there. Obviously opens up a little bit path to a little bit more court time. Obviously you still have Patrick Beverley out. So sure. The problem is that there are guys that are just a little bit more expensive that grade out significantly better. But on a GPP, obviously somebody that you can take some shots on, and I'm not going to bat an eye at it.
We are getting so many questions now. Shout out to Premium Slack. They are interested. Will Marvin Bagley bounce back?
No, because they hate him.
Yeah, they really do.
Drives me bonkers. Absolutely drives me bonkers. I know that he's not exactly what they want. He's legitimately one of my worst graded out power forwards on FanDuel, and his price tag's only 5,200. But like now, for me, a lot of my interest of Bagley this year was when Whiteside was out. He was getting a little bit of that backup run at the 5, but he's played 19 and 17 minutes the last two, or 19 and 18. It's just impossible to get there. They've got to move him at this point. Like I got to assume that might be what they're looking at doing if he's just going to be playing this limited run.
I don't know where you move him. Who needs a terrible defensive center? I mean, he's not
the
a four.
Knicks, the Knicks, they have enough power forwards to house an army. So yeah, maybe just go and grab him, Tibbs. Put him in your stable. Just start 5 power forwards and let's go.
There you go. It'll be like the Nuggets in that
the bowl starting in
the bubble game where they played just big men,
which is incredible. That was a fun one though.
Who's the DK? Who's the best center play under 4,800 on DraftKings?
Alex Len 4K is pretty darn nice. I am not going to have anybody grade out better. I'm taking some shots. Again, I'm not going like over like 10% or 8% on Robert Williams, but 3,600, he's going to be unowned and has upside.
I like that. I like that Robert Williams shout if he happens to fall into a couple extra minutes. Wow. Thank you guys for getting all these questions in. Hornets coach James Borrego said he will play some 3-guard lineups of Ball, Rozier, and Monk today. Just putting that out there.
Expected them to do that anyway. I would hope so. I think they've done that in the past, but obviously they played Graham, Rozier, and Ball together, so I don't see how Monk would be so drastically different in playing alongside Devontae Graham.
News God said that he was not posting that tweet on Twitter, and then I immediately read it out on the show. So,
good.
Whoopsie daisy.
Let him know.
Thoughts on De'Aaron Fox?
Upside, obvious upside, obvious floor. So take that for what you will.
Yeah, right now I have about 18% on FanDuel, and I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, you're double the field right now, or close to.
Close to it, yeah.
Yep.
He's my second best leverage play behind LaMelo Ball.
Love. Yeah, LaMelo Ball. Oh, yeah.
He's going to bust today. I know it. I have a ton, but he's going to bust today.
It's happening. I'm already hurt by it, but
it's not going to be fun. I have so much PJ Washington right now. It's making me nervous.
As you should. He's like so again, with him announced as starting, people still aren't going to react, especially because we have a morning lock. I don't know how that affects the NBA public. I don't know how to quantify that. I don't know how to put that in terms, but PJ Washington is going to be one of the most unknown dudes compared to what I think he will go off. So he's the Eric Lindquist leverage score, PJ Washington, simply because of a Q tag.
We have so many more questions to touch on. Tatum or Kawhi on FanDuel?
Kawhi.
Yeah, agreed.
Big time. And that 10-2, I mean, Tatum's gone off the last two. Have fun with Kawhi. Yeah, I will say that I think Kawhi gets up to go a little bit today.
Let's see. Clarkson or Halliburton? DK GPP.
GPP 6K. Halliburton is going to be significantly less owned. Clarkson 5,700. Play them both. How about that? I like both. I like both very much. If you have to play one, Clarkson is more secure, but Halliburton is going to. He can definitely bust this at 6K with the minutes that he's getting at the moment.
Kennard or Kaminsky in DK Cash?
Kaminsky, you got to play Kaminsky in DK Cash.
Yep.
As much as I don't have him in tournaments, you'd be crazy not to, simply because he's going to be owned like crazy, and you want the owned guys.
2,200 people in here right now, 415 likes. I love it. Let's get that number north of 500. I feel like that's a really nice jumping off point for us today. So there you go. 500 likes, people. Let's do it. Let's find another. Julius Randle or Bam Adebayo? No site given, but I think that's an interesting question.
I mean, Julius Randle, I think, has more path to the entire offense with Jimmy Butler now added into the equation. I'm less concerned about RJ Barrett and Alec Burks as opposed to Tyler Hero and Jimmy Butler that can impede Bam Adebayo's upside.
Russ or Sabonis in DraftKings Cash?
Sabonis for sure.
Yep, agreed.
8,300.
Who's the best pacer value?
Brogdon was 7K over on FanDuel. That was a beautiful one to see. Over on DraftKings, I think Sabonis 8,300. It's just so good.
Yeah, so it's Brogdon on FanDuel for sure at 7K. That's just too cheap for him. I think that Sabonis is the correct answer as well on DraftKings. So we are in lockstep on that one.
Are we ever going to disagree on this show at this point in time? Maybe you've crafted me. Maybe you've crafted me into being like your little thing. Like 2 years ago when I started watching everybody come through, it's like, oh, I'm just going to like learn to play like Josh Engleman. Bang, here I am. What's up?
All right, here's a 3v3 on DK. This is fun. Clarkson, Kawhi, and Burks. Wow, that is not how you spell most of that. Clarkson, Kawhi, and Burks, or Donovan Mitchell, Luke Kennard, and Sabonis.
I like 2 of the 3 on both ends of that.
Yeah.
What was the third one? So Kennard, and who was the other one that was like odd man out in the first one?
Burks.
I would like Burks more on FanDuel. On DK, I'd like Kennard more.
Okay. Is 3 Hornets? Is 3 Hornets too many in a FanDuel single entry tournament?
Nope.
No.
The Wizards. Let's be serious. Let's invest there.
Okay. Kemba and PJ Washington, or Sabonis and Malik Monk in a DraftKings GPP. This one's easy.
First one for sure by a ways.
Yeah. 3 of those guys are good plays today. One of them is not. And Malik Monk is that odd man out there. Not that like there's anything wrong with playing Malik Monk, but I mean, he's
4,400 on DraftKings. Let's pass.
He's a guy on this slate, and that's it.
Yep.
FanDuel GPP, if you roster Randall, are you running it back with at least one guy from Miami? Not on purpose.
No.
I don't mind if that happens, but I haven't done anything to make that happen. What are we doing?
Joe Ingles starting.
Okay. That's not all that crazy to me.
I mean, they wanted Clarkson to come off the bench, I was assuming, kind of anyway, right? Like, that's his job.
Yeah, I don't think any of that really matters all that much. I have a bunch of Joe Ingles, and I think that's fine. I have a bunch of Clarkson that I'm gonna just knock down a slight bit, but nothing too crazy.
I mean, 4,500 on FanDuel is just so good for Ingles.
It really is.
5,300 harder to get to on DK. I just looked at 2%, so there's that.
Yeah, I just want to bring down that Jordan Clarkson just a little bit. There we go. Right about where I want to be. That's perfect. Wow, that's a lot of Tyrese Halliburton. Let's maybe go ahead and bring that down just a hair.
No, you don't touch that button.
I mean, I'm 2x the field, more than 2x the field right now.
Oh, then that's fair. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just, turning that dial down just a hair.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, much better. Feeling good now.
God, I'm getting way too much Julius Randle on FanDuel now. I didn't spend as much time going through this. Good Lord.
I have 10% right now.
Yeah, I might just hard cap him. Little quick solve. There we go.
I actually want to give him a little bit of a bump just to get a hair more. But again, like I have 10%, he's 28% owned. So it's not as if I'm taking some gigantic stand. Wow, so many more questions. I was high on Hero today, but not starting. How much are you lowering your exposure? I'm basically just with the field.
Yeah, I was never there.
There we go. There's one thing I guess we technically disagree on.
There's a first.
Not that I'm like a huge Tyler Hero advocate for today or anything. All right, guys, you have 13 minutes to go until lock, 1 p.m. NBA lock. We're not used to this stuff, so that's what happens on the day of the Super Bowl. And again, tune in later today, 2 p.m. Eastern. We're kicking off 3 straight hours of NFL coverage. It's a great day for Awesemo.com. Gotta love the Super Bowl. Who wins the Super Bowl today?
Chiefs.
I agree.
Chiefs by murder, actually. I bet the alternative spread, interesting. The 9.5, yeah.
All right, I've got my dummy lineups in, so we can get back to some more questions here. Favorite pay down center on FanDuel?
Mitchell Robinson considered pay down, 5,200.
I think so.
Yeah, we're going to go with him.
Yeah. I mean, there's not really, like, outside of Ayton and Gobert, everything's sort of a pay down center. Miles Turner is the center that I'm playing the most of. How much Lou Will do we have on FanDuel? 0, and it's not even remotely close.
Yeah. Don't chase last game.
He's my 20th best shooting guard or something.
Is that good?
14th. Yeah, I wouldn't, but no interest. Tristan Thompson or Frank Kaminsky? No site given, unfortunately, so I shouldn't have asked the question.
I mean, as much as I am hoping he fails, Frank Kaminsky is the obvious answer of those two.
Yeah, I agree. Batum or Mikal Bridges on DraftKings?
I mean, Bridges not going to be starting, correct? Did we see that already? So
I can't picture seeing a Suns lineup.
Yeah.
I don't think we have a Suns lineup yet.
Okay. Mikal. I'm sorry. I was thinking Miles. My God. Why was I thinking Miles? That's ridiculous. Yeah, no, definitely not Mikal Bridges. Never Mikal Bridges.
Yeah. I mean, it's confusing. Those two guys are tough to keep track of, just like off the top of your head. 2M Bridges. That's
Mikal Bridges got Judased by Philadelphia, so there's that.
Yeah, I bet they'd like to have him back.
I bet they would.
Just have him in general, I guess. Let's see what else we've got going. Sabonis and PJ, or Batum and Westbrook, DK Cash.
Oh, first one. Yeah. Let's go.
Any love for Marcus Morris?
So 4,200 DraftKings is a spot I could definitely. I mean, I have like 12%, nothing crazy. That's about it. On FanDuel, absolutely not.
Okay.
You can get to a couple, but like out of 150, I'm not going to get anywhere near Marcus Morris at 4,500 on FanDuel.
All righty. What else do we have? Anything good coming in from the YouTube chat side? 10 minutes to go. Corey Randall with the super chat. What up, Corey? I have too much Lamelli on DraftKings. I assume that's LaMelo. Odds that he busts today. Hopefully low.
Hopefully very, very low. I would say that if he does, we're all together in misery. So there's that. I know that on our last run, he was still getting a positive leverage score. So like, let's party with that. Let me see what he is right now for you, because super chat, that's so lovely. Yeah, he's basically neutral. 32.4% optimal percentage, 33% ownership, like on DraftKings. So no issue getting to as much as you possibly can there. God help us all.
Most important thing that happened in the last couple of minutes. 1-1 Liverpool scored a goal. Mo Salah with the penalty. Ties it back up against Man City.
Egyptian, he's just a ridiculous human being. He's so good.
Love him. Pivoting off of LaMelo with Rozier for an ownership discount on FanDuel.
Yeah, no problem. They're both good plays. 6,100 FanDuel isn't nearly as good as the disparity going down to 57 on DraftKings, but both good plays. No issue with it.
Agreed. Man, I'm having a lot of trouble at the small forward position on FanDuel. I really don't like it.
So I was kind of going through on everything. I think Gordon Hayward is somebody that I'm getting to more than I expected to, because I feel like I'm not going to get buried the way that I am getting over the field on Rui Hachimura at 5,200. Or I think Doug McBuckets is a guy that just makes a lot of sense on the slate too. 4,100 shooting upside, playing big minutes. Like I think he's somebody to really kind of be overweight on.
8 minutes to go. If you don't have your lineups in yet, what are you waiting for? At least get yourself a dummy in there. Don't leave yourself hanging. Zubac on FanDuel, yay or nah? Nah.
Yeah, I'm a Zubac homer, and I've got 0%. So
I think he's like a good real life center, but he's 5,500 and he plays 21 minutes. Like there is no reason to do that.
Nope.
Pivot to none from Clarkson for leverage.
Not for me.
Not for me either. Fox or Mitchell in a DK GPP?
So obviously Mitchell's the better play. He's going to grade out significantly better, but how chalky is the rest of your lineup? Like Fox is fantastic.
Oh man, that's a tricky one. Mitchell is clearly the better play on paper. It really does matter. What else is there? Ownership is so important for the rest of that lineup. 7 minutes to go. Let's see. Bam and O'Neal. Oh, it's a FanDuel question. Bam and Royce O'Neal or Bagley and Randall?
Oh, my dear God. Are we playing the same slate?
Pass.
Oh man, yeah. I want to answer it because I want to be helpful, but I have no idea where to start with that.
Spend money up for Butler or Adebayo on FanDuel. I have a bunch of Bam Adebayo. I do not have Jimmy Butler on FanDuel.
Interesting, because I think I have the inverse. Let me look.
Wow.
I have. Well, I mean, obviously, it's a positional thing too. I'm getting to way more Sabonis. I'm way over on him. Actually, I'm getting quite a bit of Bam, Butler. So 27% Bam, 15%. So I'm getting way more Bam, but I didn't even cognizantly think about that.
Okay. Yeah, I have literally 0 Jimmy Butler, which never fun, but boy. Yikesies. 500 likes too, by the way. So thank you guys for hitting that thumbs up. It's nice. It's very nice.
Getting the day going. Yeah, right. Getting the day going early. Let's go.
Shot of life. Westbrook and Kaminsky or Kemba and Clarkson in a DK GPP.
Kemba Clarkson for me. And I like the Russ play, but oh man, yeah, the Kaminsky I'm going to pass.
I completely agree. Lineup submitted. Time to lose some money. Thank you for the donation, Silver Tuna. Thank you for the donation.
May it come back to you in spades.
Yes. No news coming in, so that's where we're at right now. Nothing in my beat writers column. Nothing in my NBA link right now. Follow at Awesemo NBA if you want news. That's the spot to be. El Negro Loco bringing you guys the goods on a day-to-day basis. That's all you need to do. Follow at Awesemo NBA. You won't miss a single bit of news. Favorite cheap FanDuel power forward? This is actually a question I can dive into. So I've got a few guys that I have like doubled up on. Bertans. I have a little bit of Tristan Thompson. I've got a little bit of Daniel Tice more so than the field. Field really low on Tice, 5.5% on FanDuel.
Why? All he does is play well. He looks great out there.
So I'm actually going to those 3 plus Marcus Morris, I guess, all 4 of those guys in the 4K range, hoping that at least one of them can be decent. And then if PJ Washington or Bam pops, I could lock down the power forward spot.
That's it.
I don't have Frank Kaminsky in more than 2 lineups, though.
Let's party. Honestly, it's a beautiful thing. It's time for that party to end.
Ibaka okay on FanDuel. I don't have much. Yeah. He is very chalky. I think he's the most over-owned power forward play on the slate.
So is that a no from you?
You can play him. I think he's in the optimal lineup 10% of the time. I just think it's a really deep position today. I have 11 guys at the power forward spot on FanDuel that have a 10% or higher chance of being in the optimal lineup. At small forward, that number is 7. Shooting guard, that number is 8. Point guard, that number is 7. Power forward, just wildly deep today. I think that's the most important position of the day. So I don't mind. I'm taking a bit of a stand against Jason Tatum. I'm taking a bit of a stand against Serge Ibaka. Those are the spots that I'm trying to make myself a little bit different at power forward. So I'm actively cheering against those 2. 3 minutes to go until lock. Not even 2 minutes and 10 seconds. If you don't have your lineups in right now, stop what you are doing and at least submit something of value. You do not want to miss out on getting your lineups in. I know I don't want to do that either. Let's make sure that I actually put my lineups. This is the part of the show where I don't remember the last time that I pasted my update in. It always makes me super nervous. I have the memory of a goldfish 30 seconds later and I forget everything that I've done. Any final thoughts on the slate?
This is the part of the show where I'm very grateful that you're able to go on long tangents because I'm able to finish all of my things and make sure that it's all ready to go. I feel like we've done a pretty good job. We hammered through those games pretty darn quickly. I think just make sure that you're not exposing yourself to some of this bad under 4K stuff on DraftKings. I like Robert Williams. If you're looking for one guy to maybe pop, that's a weird guy to have stick out in general. But I'm on these large field 5 gamers. You got to find one piece that can go off just through some random spike in upside where you're going to see depressed ownership. Hopefully he's the guy for me.
Breaking news. Shams Charania The Detroit Pistons are nearing an agreement on a deal to send Derrick Rose to the New York Knicks for Dennis Smith Jr. and draft compensation. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know.
Are they in love? Like Tibbs and Rose? They might be. Like,
I guess.
What
the Knicks needed, though. They definitely don't have that type of player. And they're perfectly fine with 48 minutes of point guard play at Elfrid Payton and quickly for right now because they stink and it doesn't matter what happens in the Knicks. So, yeah, great idea. Great idea.
Unbelievable. And Quickly's been so good, and they just don't let him do anything.
And that's it. We are about to be locked. I'll finish this sentence and it will be 1 p.m. So, Eric, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Good luck. Go Chiefs, I would say as well. Enjoy the day. And yeah, let's try to get some money in the process. You've got a big day ahead of you.
I do. Tune in to the NFL shows starting at 2 o'clock. We're going to have 3 hours worth of coverage, and I will be back 4 p.m. Eastern time, myself and Chris Spags, along with Matt Kajeski, breaking it all down. Guys, thank you for joining us. Good luck today on Super Bowl Sunday, whether you're playing in the NBA or you're playing some contests for the NFL. We'll be back with 3 straight hours of NFL coverage coming at 2 p.m. So tune in. Awesemo_com YouTube channel. Actually, I don't even think it's Awesemo_com anymore. It used to be, but now it's not.
It's not.
Well, just search for Awesemo. You'll find it. I promise you. Good luck, everybody. We're out of here. I'm done.